Hi guys, so good evening and welcome back to my magical world. It's Wednesday today, September 17th, 2025, and it's currently 22:45 in the evening. And I think it's the birthday of my favorite doctor. So happy birthday, uh, Doc uh, Francis. So ayan, he's a good friend of mine. So yeah, di pa ako nakakabalik sa kanya, my God. So, um, we're going to read page 307 and 308 of the book Mastery. So, I'm going to finish this book siguro tonight or maybe later uh, na mag-uumaga. I don't know, guys. So, we have to finish this kasi I'll take a rest muna. Pupunta muna ako ng ibang planeta. Okay? Maybe sa planet, I'm going back to planet Jupiter so I can rest my mental health. So yeah, again, 307 and 308 of the book Mastery. His style of science was unconventional for the time. He had the idea that there existed a form of archetypal plant that could be deduced from the shape and development of all plants. In the study of bones, he liked to compare all life forms to see whether there were similarities in the construction of parts such as the vertebral column. He was obsessed with the connections between life forms. The results of his Faustinian design, Faustian, ano ba yan? Faustian desire to get at the essence of all life. He felt that phenomena in nature contain the theory of their essence in their own structure. If we could only grasp it with our senses and our minds, almost all scientists at the time ridiculed his work, but in in the decades to follow it, it was recognized that he had developed perhaps the first real concept of evolution. And his other work was the precursor to such later sciences as morphology and comparative anatomy. In Weimar Goethe, Go was a changed man, a sober scientist and thinker, but in 1801, another bout of illness came close to killing him yet again. It took years to recover, but by 1805, he felt his strength returning with and with it a return to sensations he had not experienced since his youth. That year initiated one of the strangest and most amazing periods of the productivity in the history of the human mind. Stretching from his mid 50s to his late 60s, the demon he had repressed for several decades broke loose once more. But now he had the discipline to channel it all into all to channel it into all kinds of work. Poems, novels, and plays came pouring out of him. He took up fast again, writing most of it in this period. His day was an almost insane medley of different studies, writing in the morning and experiments and scientific observations. In the afternoon, discussions with friends about aesthetics, science, and politics, and the evening. He seemed to be tireless and to be going through a second youth. So Go had now came to the conclusion that all forms, where are we, of human knowledge or manifestations of the same life force he had intuited in his near-death experience as a young man. The problem with most people, he felt, is that they build artificial walls around subjects and ideas. The real thinker sees the connections, grasps the essence of the life force operating in every individual instance. Why should any individual stop at poetry or find art unrelated to science narrow his or her intellectual interest? The mind was designed Ayan, let's continue. So the mind was designed to connect things like loom that knits together all of the threads of a fabric. If life exists as an organic whole and cannot be separated into parts without losing a sense of the whole, then thinking should make itself equal to the whole. Friends and acquaintances notice a strange phenomenon in this twilight period of Go life. He loved to talk about the future, decades, and centuries ahead. In his Weimar years, he had added to his studies reading many books on economics, history, and politics science and political science. Gaining new insights from these readings and adding to them his own reasoning, he loved to predict the tide of historical events. And those who witnessed these predictions were later shocked at his prescience. Years before the French Revolution, he had predicted the fall of the Bourbon monarchy, intuiting that it had lost its legitimacy in the eyes of the people, participating on the German side in battles to overturn the French Revolution and witnessing the victory of the French civilian army at the Battle of Valmy. He exclaimed, "Here and now begins a new historical era." And you can all say you have seen it. He meant the coming era of democracies and civilian armies. Now, in his 70s, he would tell people that petty nationalism was a dying force and that one day Europe would form a union like the United States. A development he welcomed. He talked excitedly of the United States itself, predicting that it would someday be the great power in the world, its borders slowly expanding to fill the continent. He discussed his belief that a new science of telegraphy would connect the globe and that people would have access to the latest news by the hour. He called this future the velocipedic age, one determined by speed. He was concerned that it could lead to a deadening of the human spirit. Finally, at the age of 82, he could sense that the end was near, even though his mind was sparkling with more ideas than ever before. He said to a friend that it was a shame that he could not live another 80 years. What new discoveries he could make with all of his accumulated experience. He had been postponing it for years, but now it was time to finally write the ending to Faust itself. The scholar would find a moment of happiness. The devil would take his soul, but divine forces would forgive Faust for his great intellectual ambition, for his for his relentless quest for knowledge, and would save him from hell, perhaps go own judgment on himself. A few months later, he wrote his friend, the great linguist and educator Wilhelm von Humboldt, the following: the human organs, by means of practice, training, reflection, success or failure, furtherance or resistance, learn to make the necessary connections unconsciously. The acquired and the intuitive working hand in hand so that a unison results, which is the world's wonder. The world is ruled by bewildered theories of bewildering operations, and nothing is, to me, more important than, so far as is possible, to turn to the best account what is in me and persist in me, and keep a firm hand upon my idiosyncrasies. This would be the last words he would write. Within a few days, he was dead at the age of 83. So, sobrang blessed niya kasi nabuhay siya at that age. Thank you guys for listening and thank you for helping me make this world a better place for all of us and for the future generation. 'Di ba? Hindi lahat nabibiyayaan ng ganong age range. So, kayo guys, take care of your health, your heart, mind, body, and soul. Ako, kung ano yung bigay, yun na yun. We can't really tell and we can't really complain kasi binigyan ka na nga ng buhay. So, you get my point. Savor it until you can. Okay? And don't ever lose hope. Whatever is happening in our external world. Kasi at least dito, I can remind you, dito sa online world, I can remind you that you can be strong.